Have you ever felt rejected or excluded, experiencing that deep pain that seems to take your breath away? You're not alone. Rejection is a universal human experience that can trigger a wide range of negative emotions. However, Stoic philosophy, a school of thought founded in the 3rd century BC by Zeno of Citium, offers powerful tools for handling rejection in healthy and constructive ways. This video explores the topic of rejection from a Stoic perspective, using quotes from Stoic philosophers and presenting practical examples. Before continuing, I invite you to like this video and activate notifications. By ringing the notification bell, you help YouTube recognize the value of our content, helping us reach and motivate more people. Now, immerse yourself in a Stoic exploration of rejection, finding strength and wisdom in the teachings of some of history's most resilient philosophers. Rejection, in its multiple forms, is a constant in human life. From job opportunities that don't come to fruition, friendships and relationships that don't develop as we expected, to ideas and projects that aren't received with the enthusiasm we anticipated, rejection is all around us. It may be tempting to see these experiences as direct reflections of our worth or our competence, but to do so is to overlook a fundamental truth about the nature of the human experience and, more specifically, about the nature of our emotional and psychological reactions to life events. Our lives. Stoic philosophy invites us to consider a different perspective. According to the Stoics, it is not the external events themselves that cause us pain or suffering, but the interpretations and meanings we assign to them. This idea is eloquently encapsulated in a quote from Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoics. It is not things that disturb us, but our opinions about them. This quote serves as a powerful reminder that our greatest power lies in our ability to interpret and respond to the circumstances of our lives. In facing rejection, then, the Stoic challenge is not to avoid these experiences, something that is beyond our control, but to transform our perception of them. In doing so, we can begin to see rejection not as a final judgment on our worth or ability, but as part of the very texture of human life and as an opportunity for personal growth and reflection. This change in perspective is essential to developing emotional resilience and to living a life marked not by the avoidance of pain, but by the search for meaning and virtue in all our experiences. Part 1. Understanding rejection through Stoicism. The first part of our exploration of rejection from the Stoic perspective leads us to a deeper understanding of how this ancient philosophical system equips us to face one of the most universally challenging experiences, being rejected. Stoicism, with its roots in the teachings of Zeno of Citium and his notable followers such as Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, provides us with a robust framework for interpreting and handling rejection in a way that not only minimizes our suffering but also promotes personal growth and character development. Fundamental principle: perception and control. The core of the Stoic response to rejection centers on the distinction between what is and what is not under our control. The Stoics teach that while we cannot control external events, including the actions and opinions of other people, we can control our responses to those events. This idea is reinforced by the notion that it is our perception of events, rather than the events themselves, that determines our emotional state. Rejection as an opportunity. From this perspective, rejection becomes an opportunity to exercise our control over our perceptions and reactions. Each instance of rejection offers a moment to practice the Stoic distinction between internal and external, focusing on our own virtue, character, and emotional response, rather than on the rejection event itself. Virtue as purpose. The Stoics maintain that virtue, understood as excellence of character, is the highest good and goal of life. Thus, rejection is seen not as a failure, but as a test of our ability to maintain our integrity, patience, and understanding, regardless of external circumstances. This approach helps us reinterpret rejection from a sign of personal deficiency to a challenge to our ability to live by our principles. Emotional self-sufficiency. A consequence of this approach is the development of emotional self-sufficiency. Through Stoic practice, we learn to derive our sense of worth and satisfaction not from external approval, but from our adherence to virtue and our own ethical standards. Rejection, therefore, loses its power to disturb us deeply, since our self-esteem no longer depends on factors outside our control. Practicing acceptance. Finally, Facing rejection with a Stoic mindset means practicing acceptance. Accepting rejection does not mean being passive or resigning yourself to misfortune, but rather recognizing the reality of the situation without excessive negative judgment about ourselves or others. Through this acceptance, we can maintain our serenity and inner well-being, even in the midst of adverse circumstances. This first part prepares us to explore specific strategies and practical applications of Stoicism to managing rejection, illuminating how these ancient teachings continue to be relevant and powerfully transformative in our contemporary lives. Example 1. Applying for a job and being rejected. The job search is a common experience full of potential for rejection. Imagine that after weeks of searching, you find the job of your dreams. You take your time preparing your application, perfecting your resume and cover letter, and finally submitting your application. Days later, you receive an email informing you that you have not been selected for the position. Traditional response versus Stoic response. The traditional response to this type of rejection might include feelings of sadness, doubt about your own worth, or even resentment toward the company for not recognizing your potential. However, from a Stoic perspective, the situation is handled very differently. Stoic analysis. First, the Stoics would remind us that the outcome of this request is beyond our control. What is within our control is how we prepare our application, how we respond to the rejection, and how we proceed from here. This understanding frees us from unnecessary anguish over factors beyond our control. Opportunity for growth. Second, rejection becomes an opportunity for personal growth. You may ask yourself, are there areas in my application that I can improve? Can I seek feedback to better understand why I was not selected? This attitude of continuous learning and adaptability is fundamental to Stoic philosophy. Preserving inner tranquility. Instead of allowing rejection to disturb your inner peace, you use it as an opportunity to practice resilience and strengthen your character. You remember another quote from Epictetus: "Do not expect things to happen as you want, but will things as they happen, and your life will flow well." You accept the situation as it is, not as you would like it to be, keeping focus on what matters. Despite rejection, you maintain your focus on what truly matters: your effort, your integrity, and your commitment to continuous improvement. You recognize that your value is not defined by a single opportunity or the perception of others, but by your ability to maintain dignity and constant effort, regardless of external circumstances. Example 2. Expressing feelings to someone and not being responded. In the context of expressing feelings towards someone and not being reciprocated, Stoic philosophy invites us to approach this situation with wisdom and serenity. The experience of opening our hearts to another person, only to discover that they do not share the same feelings, can be deeply painful and disorienting. However, from a Stoic perspective, this type of rejection offers a valuable opportunity to practice fundamental Stoic principles. Acceptance and control principle. First, this situation reminds us of the importance of distinguishing between what is and what is not in our control. While we can control our actions and the sincerity with which we express our feelings, we cannot control another person's feelings or responses. Recognizing and accepting this reality helps us maintain inner peace and avoid unnecessary suffering. The virtue of emotional resilience. Furthermore, facing unrequited love challenges us to develop the virtue of emotional resilience. Instead of seeing rejection as a refutation of our personal worth, we can see it as an opportunity to strengthen, learn, and grow. Emotional resilience allows us to recover more quickly from disappointments and prepares us for future opportunities for connection and love. The value of inner freedom. Lastly, this experience teaches us about the value of inner freedom. Stoics value freedom from being disturbed by outside forces, including the opinions and actions of others. When faced with heartbreak, we can exercise this freedom, choosing to respond in ways that reflect our highest values and principles, rather than becoming trapped in cycles of desire and disappointment. Stoic quote: "If you love something, set it free, because even if it comes back, it was never yours to begin with." Epictetus adapted. Example 3. Proposing an idea at work and being ignored. When we propose an idea at work and it is ignored, it can be easy to fall into frustration or doubt about our value. However, Stoic philosophy teaches us to look at this situation from another perspective. focusing on what is under our control. According to Marcus Aurelius, we must accept and adapt to what we cannot change, using our reason to work constructively within those parameters. In this context, that means recognizing that the reception of our ideas by others is beyond our control. What we can control is our reaction to being ignored and how we proceed from there. Instead of allowing rejection to undermine our confidence or deter us from continuing to share our ideas, we can use it as an opportunity to reflect on how we can improve our proposal or how we can communicate it more effectively in the future. Furthermore, this scenario offers us the opportunity to practice perseverance and resilience, qualities highly valued in Stoicism. Stoic application. See rejection as an opportunity to improve our ideas and communication. Part 2. Stoic strategies for handling rejection. Example 4. Not being invited to a social event. In the context of not being invited to a social event, Stoicism offers us valuable lessons about self-perception and the value of emotional independence. This scenario, although it may be initially disappointing, is an opportunity to reflect on the importance of self-sufficiency and finding contentment in our own company. Stoic philosophy teaches us that our happiness and inner peace should not depend on inclusion in social events or external validation, but on our own virtue and character. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic, emphasized the idea that we do not need the approval of others to live a full and meaningful life. Exclusion from a social event thus becomes an occasion to practice inner strength and reaffirm our value regardless of the opinion or actions of others. Instead of feeling hurt or rejected, we can use this time to enjoy ourselves, explore personal hobbies, or reflect on our goals and values. This approach not only helps us handle the disappointment of not being invited, but also encourages the development of greater emotional resilience and self-esteem. Stoic philosophy reminds us that although we cannot control the actions of others, we can control our reactions and how we choose to view and respond to the situations we face. Stoic strategy. Reflect on the importance of self-sufficiency and finding happiness in our own company. Example 5. Receiving criticism for a creative project. When we receive criticism for a creative project, it can be easy to become defensive or feel personally attacked. However, from the Stoic perspective, this scenario becomes a valuable opportunity for personal and professional growth. Stoic philosophy teaches us to distinguish between what is and what is not in our control. In this case, we cannot control the opinions of others, but we can control how we choose to interpret and respond to that criticism. A Stoic strategy is to view criticism as a gift that offers us the opportunity to improve our work. This requires practicing objectivity, separating our personal identity from our work, and considering criticism from a constructive point of view. Is there a grain of truth in the criticism that we can use to improve? How can we use this feedback to grow as creatives? By adopting this mentality, criticism stops being a source of suffering and becomes a tool for personal advancement. This approach not only helps us develop greater resilience in the face of criticism, but also fosters an attitude of openness and continuous learning, essential qualities for anyone dedicated to artistic creation or creative projects. Stoic strategy. Distinguish between constructive and destructive criticism and use what is useful to improve. Example 6. Being rejected on a friendship or relationship request. Facing rejection when trying to form a friendship or start a relationship can be especially painful, given the personal and emotional level of the investment. Stoic philosophy, however, offers a perspective that can help you handle these moments with dignity and emotional balance. The Stoics remind us that although we have no control over other people's feelings or actions, we do have control over our own reactions and attitudes. This example invites us to reflect on the importance of focusing on what is under our control. Accepting that we cannot force relationships or friendships, and that the desire for connection must be mutual is essential to maintaining our internal tranquility. Instead of seeing rejection as a personal failure, we can see it as a sign that that particular relationship or friendship was not right for us at the moment. This frees us to direct our energy and attention toward other, more rewarding and reciprocal relationships. Practicing Stoic acceptance in these situations helps us maintain our self-esteem and emotional well-being, reminding us that our value does not depend on external acceptance. Likewise, it motivates us to continue being open and vulnerable in the search for genuine connections, understanding that each interaction is an opportunity to learn and grow, regardless of the outcome. Stoic strategy. Remember that we cannot control the feelings or actions of others, only our reaction to them. Example 7. Not being chosen for a team or project. Not being chosen for a team or project can be a discouraging experience, especially if we have invested time and effort in preparing for the opportunity. However, Stoic philosophy offers us a way to reinterpret this type of rejection in a way that strengthens our resilience and propels us toward personal growth. From the Stoic perspective, it is crucial to recognize that we cannot always control the results of our actions, including other people's decisions about who should be chosen for a team or project. What is in our power is how we respond to these situations. Instead of giving in to frustration or self-pity, we can use the moment as an impetus to reflect on our skills and areas for improvement. This reflection can lead us to identify opportunities to strengthen our skills, expand our knowledge, or even explore new areas of interest that we had not previously considered. Additionally, experience can teach us how to handle disappointment constructively, better preparing us for future opportunities and helping us develop greater tenacity. Stoic strategy. Use the moment as an impetus to strengthen our skills and better prepare for future opportunities. Conclusion. Summary of how Stoicism teaches us to see rejection not as a personal failure, but as a natural part of the human experience and an opportunity for personal growth. Stoic closing quote, "Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are under our control and others are not." Epictetus. I invite you to reflect on your own approach to rejection. Do you focus on what you can't control, or do you look for ways to grow and adapt? Leave me your opinion in the comments and share how you apply or could apply these Stoic teachings in your daily life. If this video has offered you new perspective or helpful tools for handling rejection situations, I'd love to hear about it. Subscribe to the channel and share this video with friends or family who could also benefit from learning how to handle rejection in a healthier and more constructive way.